Today, our hosts and their guests consider the moment that we find ourselves in American history. Basic freedoms, long since assumed as givens, are suddenly under assault.
We're in it now, right? There's not going to be some switch in which we move into authoritarianism. We're in that continuum now. How do you get people to register that this is about them and their lives? This is not an abstraction about Antifa.
I think that's the very important and central question, because it is about them. It's about all of us.
Yeah.
Because any one of us could be in those apartment buildings or those homes where people are raided in the middle of the night. I mean, many of those people who were raided in Chicago, they were here legally. They were not here illegally. And as you said before, Ali, there's no way of knowing if the president drops a bomb on a boat and just alleges that they were doing something nefarious, that they were carrying drugs into the United States. All we have is his word for it. And that means that any one of us is particularly susceptible and vulnerable to him saying, well, you were carrying drugs, or you were doing this, or you were doing that. Right. So I have a right, and my troops have a right to shoot you. This is what people really need to understand. It's not about them being in danger. It's about all of us being in danger.
I don't know if you've seen these young Republican texts, but I think the most surprising thing is it's not surprising. This runs through the whole party. Who's surprised that their demon seed that they're training to take over are exactly as sexist, racist, homophobic, you name it, as they are?
Yeah. Well, I read that this morning. I got up about 4 in the morning because I have crazy jet lag. And I'm reading this article, and I'm reading the text. Right? Anyone who doesn't vote, who votes no on this, we'll send them to the gas chambers. Using the N-word fluidly and religiously. My favorite one was the guy who says, if these texts ever get out, we're burned for real, for real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. What you are looking at, I'm sorry, people. There is a cadre of young involuntary celibates out there who decided the Republican Party is their pathway to future power. It's about getting recognized. These people will be rewarded for those texts with jobs. They will be rewarded with positions in Homeland Security.
This is what, Aaron Parnas said. Leaked texts show young Republicans across the country making anti-Semitic, racist, xenophobic remarks, all while angling for a Trump endorsement in inter-party race. I mean... And by the way, when you say incel, Bella, are you with me? When you see their pictures, I'm like, oh, I get it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, choose the bear.
So yeah, and by the way, you also retweeted George Conway just on what's the they ignored their final command, what you've seen with your own eyes and ears. He said there's absolutely zero chance a man who took $50,000 in cash in a paper bag from an FBI agent on camera would have been appointed to any position by any other president. I mean.
And have them vouch for it, because to them, they ramped this guy up. They were like, dude, small potatoes. At 50,000, you got to get a couple of billion in Bitcoin, right? Then you can come play with us. We'll show you how. One of the things that I think we have to do as a body of resistance is that we've got to, and I say this all the time, stop playing the micro narrative game. We find these little stories fun and interesting, but your answer to that should be, this is a continuing criminal enterprise. The entire administration, did I say administration? Yeah. The entire regime, their sole function is to make money, steal money, use government to abuse people to steal and make money. They're making money off of prisons. And when we come through with our Project 2029, or whatever we want to call it, Restoration 76, which is a name that I like, we need to make part of the mandatory Democratic platform that those people will not just be investigated, right? That we will dismantle the entire private prison system in America. You want to put people in a federal prison, you're going to have to be a federal facility that's funded. No more private money to do this, because they're now just, I saw in Memphis, they're arresting black kids, putting them into ICE detention centers to get their cash funding up for that. They get paid some crazy amount of money, like, $10,000 per person. Yeah. Same thing with these bounty hunters. We have got to stop saying, oh, Thom Hartmann took $50,000. This is a criminal enterprise pretending to be a government.
Top to bottom, yep. I saved one more for you because I know there's only so much bandwidth, but Dakota Post, the U.S. killed another 6 people in a 5th Caribbean strike. Trump said the people aboard a fishing boat off the coast of Venezuela were suspected of smuggling drugs. In total, that's 27 lives taken without justification under domestic or international law. Lesser actions have started wars, yet here we are. Why isn't the House Oversight Subcommittee on Military and Foreign Affairs looking into this? Oh, that's right. They aren't in session because they're hiding from the Epstein files. I mean, here we are, right? Just another day.
Look, Steph, it doesn't matter if there's a House Oversight or House Intelligence Committee. They don't care about them. You saw the way Bondi steamed in there the other day. She had notes reminding herself to be a mean, bitch. To go in there and to be as rude and as angry as possible. She only does this to entertain Fox News and to make them think that they're going up against the libs and they're trolling the libs. They don't care. What we need to start saying is that in the next administration, if it's Gavin Newsom or whoever, that the Democratic Party had better promise war crimes trials, and that these people will not be exempt from being sent to The Hague the way they've always said, we don't send people to The Hague because our system of justice is perfect. We've got a Supreme Court that would uphold a pardon of these people who are killing people. And I'm sorry, I'm speaking to the members of the armed forces, whoever's shooting these drones. You have no immunity for war crimes trials.
Yeah.
Period.
Speaking of The Hague, have you seen, Jack Smith spoke out recently, and I thought the fact that they've tried to smear this guy as some, I don't know, partisan hack. He's a prosecutor at The Hague.
Right.
He has like a sterling reputation. He was following the laws and the facts, right? I mean, I was saying we're literally the dumbest timeline when Eric Trump says Jack Smith planted the folders in Mar-a-Lago of classified info. He wasn't even appointed yet.
Yeah. Oh my God. But again, this is where we're discussing the minutia of these things. The whole thing about Jack Smith. Eric Trump also made that stupid statement that Letitia James has a felon living in her house and that you shouldn't be allowed to have a felon living in your house. Dude, look upstairs. You got a 34-time convicted felon. You guys got to maintain the meta narrative. Continuous criminal enterprise, most corrupt administration in the history of the United States. These guys make the robber barons look like pikers.
Oh, wait, I said, that's why I saved a joke for you. Brian says a heroin addict, a sex offender, a dog killer, and a 34 times convicted felon walk into a bar. The bartender says, "Sorry, folks, we don't allow Trump cabinet meetings here." That's funny. That's funny.
Well, one last thing. Hey, Kristi Noem. No one should ever refer to her as anything other than the dog killer.
Yeah.
You want to change the meta narrative? Let's change it around her. I don't care about cosplay Barbie. I don't care about her being sexy cop. She's a dog killer, and that's all you need, puppy killer, and that's all you need to know about her.
Yep.
So that being said, don't forget, go to No Kings this Saturday. Every one of you turn out. We need to exceed the 11 million we had before. Take over and overpass.
And as Malcolm always says, keep up the mockery, keep up the satire. One last one. T. Mitchell says, the irony of Kristi Noem trying to convince people that the armed masked Gestapo shoving brown people into unmarked cars and disappearing them are the good guys, and the calm crowd dressed as frogs and unicorns are terrorists. We are in the dumbest timeline.
Dumbest timeline.
Yeah, but I just double and triple your, conviction to get to a No Kings rally wherever you are.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, my Substack this week, I'm interviewing the top 3 journalists from Portland to discuss the ever-living H-hole that they are in. And I want to know how many guardsmen show up at Voodoo Donuts every day. That's the question that I have. So, you'll be getting a live report from the Portland Mercury and other journalists who are sitting there watching this occupation of their city in real time.
Oh, my God. That's the most giant black dog I've ever seen behind you. Oh, my God. What is that thing?
It portends the coming of an American revolution.